By golly, are we rocking down this morning here on this Coyote Medicine Show? Do we know how to put that coyote medicine out real smooth and rocking too, baby? Ooh, man, I tell you what, I take a little sip off my Mary Jane mug here, the official Coyote Club mug of Mary Jane. Oh, gosh almighty. And I feel like my life has started all over again right there in that one little sip. Oh, my goodness gracious. I just transported myself to a warm cliff out in the desert, and I'm hanging out with some friends, and we're having a good time. Wow. But I'm back now. That was, wow, instantaneous revelation there, babies. And how divine it must be. I tell you what, I love that Red Rock country. I love kicking around down there. It can be a little hairy. There's some characters out there. You got to watch out for them. And then there's rattlesnakes and jackrabbits and shit, too. Jackrabbits have been known to attack people if they look at them wrong. You know, you got to be cool with the jackrabbits, man, because I tell you what, you don't know what life is until you feel a 60-pound jackrabbit jumping on you and trying to claw you to death, man. That can hurt mightily. You know what I mean? So you want to be, reasonable with the jackrabbits and the rattlesnakes. Just show them a little respect and they'll leave you alone. But if you don't show them a little respect, you might piss them off. So be careful, okay? Well, anyway, even if you do get bit, maybe you could perhaps neutralize the toxins. Maybe the ETs will come and help you and set you free, So maybe you got nothing to worry about, really, man. Maybe this whole life has changed ever since Boston said, we're not taking our time. We're not fooling around. We're hauling ass. We're getting downtown, baby. We're partying on. See, this has become, it was a news flash just a few moments ago. The party is on at our place here in this, galactic reality we call love, and this harmonious place of being we call the Mother Earth, oh Gaia of the heart. Oh, I tell you what, babies, we are, the preparations are underway. I mean, the hot chick actually rolled over this morning in her sleepy dream time and spoke, gently with a reporter, trying not to blow the circuits out, because, man, when she speaks, I mean, the electronics just go and it's just but somehow we recorded, and just the same. So there she was. She rolled over this morning and spoke briefly with the reporter. And I mean, her few words were, "Get ready, people." That's basically what she had to say. And she also added and reiterated just a wee bit, said there'll be some signs in the sky and some signs on the earth that the party is really underway. So be prepared for that, too, because you're the ones creating it, man. And I hope you do a funky, cool job with it this time. I'm so pleased with the way you guys have turned out, man. It's like the perfect batch of marijuana cookies, man. I couldn't have baked them better myself if I'd have tried, babies. You come out just right, babies, and you're all just a bunch of stoners, man. Getting high all the time, and at altitude. I always liked people with altitude, Humanity, you really done me proud. That's what the hot chick said, man. Wow. I wonder if she's related to Mary Jane or if they're one and the same. I'll bet they are. By golly. I don't know, though. In this reality, it's tricky. Just when you think you got it all wired in, man, that's when you find out you're wired out. You got to reconnect with them circuitries once more, babies. It's the in and out thing that makes it pleasurable. You know what I mean? If we didn't have the outs, we wouldn't appreciate the ins, man. That's just the way it is, So, babies, that's why we went out for a while. We went and dated a hot chick for a while. But, and she was pretty cool with us, but she did take us through some tough territory. But, you got to remember, she drives a Mazda Miata convertible. It's a little two-seater. It's one of the most dangerous rigs on the road, But that son of a gun hauls bunkers, 18,000 on takeoff. And she don't even worry about warp speed. She jumps through one universe to the other like some people, pick their nose, man. I mean, she's quick about it, You wouldn't even know they were doing it, You wouldn't even know she had either, Bam, she's there, Well, that's the hot chick, The sun shines wherever she goes. It don't matter if she's in hell or paradise or anywhere in between or out there way beyond Jupiter, Mars, and shit. I mean, it don't matter where she is, Sun always shines wherever she is. And, of course, she's got an entourage of angelic presences that follow her around and favor her every whim and make sure that she gets well cared for wherever she happens to be. be. Of course. That's the source and nature of the divinity. That's how the divine treat one another. They respectfully and they help each other out. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? And she's just here, she says, sleepily, dreamily. Oh my goodness, I tell you. It's hard to be in her presence at these conditions, but yeah, dreamily, sleepily, she says, guys, you got it. Just let it happen, okay? Let the old man shake your bacon. Listen to the Coyote Medicine Show. Mow and tell your friends and spread the word, babies. Everybody's got to get into this one. And if you don't, oh, my darlings, well, you're going to be here anyway because the party will overwhelm you, but the funnest times is often the early times, babies. After a while, it starts to, you get numb to it because you've been partying forever. You know what I mean? You can't appreciate it like you do now, man. I mean, when you've been outside in the cold for a while, and you can step inside and have a little hot toddy beside the fireplace and dry off and, warm up. I mean, life is really a good place of being, see. So that's the contented source, and that's the image she wants you to see as you're sitting by the fireplace there, sipping on a hot toddy or maybe a cup of coffee with a little sweet whiskey or something like that. Whatever's your preference. Don't be drinking no beer. It's too cold. But that's the conception she wants you to understand. See, that's the basis of the whole party right there. Sitting there contented by the fireplace, with your cup of whatever in your hand. I mean, that's comfort, comfort, comfort. It just doesn't get much better than that unless you're nuzzled right up to Mother Earth's you-know-whats, man. Oh, that's the only better place to be. Well, come to think of it, that must be one and the same. That must be our mama giving us a big embrace. That old Norman Rockwell image of a soused out hippie beside the fireplace, toking down and enjoying, some fine sipping whiskey of one sort or another, and just, letting life be. He's not a drunk, not an alcoholic, but just likes a nice buzz. I mean, this is you, this is me, this is us setting each other free. See, that's the source of the party, man. That's where it all begins, right there beside the fireplace, Civilization had its beginnings around an open fire. You understand that? So that's what the fireplace represents here, is that open fire, you see. Yeah, the one where we first got together and said, let's do something with this reality. Oh, pioneers, baby. Ooh, they can be harsh and critical and mean, I tell you, and can also put out some pretty warped ideas about what life ought to be and change things greatly, But, oh, well, that's what happens, babies. That's humanity. That's our heart. We'll take a different journey every now and then because we, all of us are the spiritual bad boys of the universe, so to speak. Girls and boys all together. It's not a genderized thing. That we are the spiritual bad kids of the whole universe, man. And the whole universe was holding its breath for the longest of times, man. They thought we were going to shat upon the britches of life and run away and take it all with us or something like that, In fact, there's a lot of betting against us out there, but Jimmy the Greek gave him too long odds and bankrupted himself because we won and he lost, Sorry, Jimmy, but that's what you get for being a hog. You don't bet against the hand that feeds you. You just don't. I mean, that's just silliness, Especially when that hand can't throw anything but 7s and 11s when it takes a little crapshoot. So, babies, you just better, wise up and be a little wiser, but we're not mad at you. Shoot, Jimmy, you just did what you do naturally, now we just embrace you and bring you back to life, man. You can party with the rest of us, come over here and join me by the fireplace, man. First, I want to tell you a little story about what happened. Oh, I don't know, man, what was it? It'll come back to me here in a little bit. Let me have another sip and toke or two here, and I'm sure I'll come up with that story, but I really don't want to be like, well, let's just let the party get started right there. As our good old Mother Hot Chick has suggested, and obviously she's rolled over and gone back to sleep. Oh. Well, I'm there. I contained myself. The emotion, the passion you feel in her presence. I'm telling you, babies, you want to be, even when it's just hearing her words spoken to you, you want to be ready for that, because it can be, yeah, it can be a little overwhelming, you know. I mean, you've never felt such gracious love since the last time you died or got born. You know what I mean? It's just like that. It's the ever-loving love that just flows through her like, you know, a candlestick burning or something. I don't know. She's just there, you know, all the time, man. And so you got to be like, wow, and then you mean ready for that vibe, because it can be like, wow. I mean, it's the divine feminine, and then some, of course, you know, but that's why she's the hot chick, too. She embodies it so well, you know, makes us all want to be the feminine divine, you know. Well, and then all of a sudden we recognize that we are. Not necessarily reformated in the exact form of her, thank goodness. Each of us has our own way. But thank goodness, together with it all, and together we do get to play. And that's the source of our partay. It starts with that contented moment by the fireplace. You know, some of your friends start to drop over, and, you know, a couple of the E.T. presences come by to introduce themselves, and pretty soon everybody's sipping whiskey and toking fine marijuana right there by the fire, and, you know, the party's on at our place, you see. That's where we began, babies. Just like always, civilization's got to have an open fire to begin around. Well, the fire is really in our heart this morning as the sun rises inside, and we begin to absorb the sunrise rays inside of ourselves and become that sunrise inside. Yes, indeed, babies, the angels of Earth have begun taking flight right here on this Coyote Medicine Show. Hell yeah, you got that right. Just barely a humble beginning, babies. But wow, what a great start. Because besides this bunch of people, there's a whole bunch more out there that are joined in the heart. And so angelic presences be awakening all across the face of this reality, you see. And the old times of sleepy-headed walking away with it and getting away with it because you were asleep is no more. Now you're innocent, babies. So pure. You awaken, see, and you see the divinity inside the angelic presence that you be. And oh my goodness, you start to de-densify and lighten up and de-bakeify and then wake and bake right here on the Coyote Medicine Show. This is how we help you, you know, realize how it is to fly. You want to be flowing with this ever-loving heart that flows through this guy, this oracle of love, this old grandpa, that scrawny little bean with all that hair going every which way. What a wild thing he is, man. Well, we got to tame that boy down just a wee bit, man. That black sheep's a little too black, you know. Oh, the universe ain't really afraid of me. It's just a joke we play on one another. You know, I ain't afraid of well, I don't know. You know, I got great respect for the universe. Let's put it that way. Great respect. You know, it's not something I want to try and push around unless I have to, you know. As a human presence, you do have such abilities and gifts, but, you know, you wouldn't know anything about that this morning. Just keep it glowing and don't take this as a warning. Take it as a blessing, babies, because here it is, paradise, and we got it twice, maybe 3 times already, and we ain't even started yet, man. It's barely, you know, 2 hours and 15 into our flight, babies. And we're just barely starting to hatch it out and getting it right. Yeah, I think Grandpa tell a story or two by the fireplace just for fun, you know, because we can gather the crowd around. You know, maybe we can even get old hot chick come on over in. Well, I don't know. Maybe she's better staying over there in Love India. We just couldn't take the personal radiance of her just yet. Might just knock us off our rockers or something, you know. And we're crazy enough, well, what the hell, it's a party. Come on over, hot chick. Let's get it on, babies. I'll be telling some stories here by the fireplace as this day goes forward and begins to begin itself again and again. Oh, yeah, babies. We're on a real spin here on Free Day Friday on the Coyote Medicine Show here on the Hazy Radio Network, the rockin'est network in town. The funnest time you've ever had, man, Dad. Well, if it ain't, Forgive me, I'm trying, okay? It's a humble beginning, but it's something, baby. Party's got to start somewhere. Why not right here in the Spaceship Love, 9,000 feet high in the Rocky Mountain sky? So it has begun. The staff and management of the Spaceship Love are officially off duty and partying their barshers off, man. We're going to have a blast, baby, because we have come to the time where we really can party. Finally, and for fun and for real, and at last. No games, Jane, no way, Jack. We are going to have a great big old love attack. Yes, indeedy, that's what we're doing, baby. We're setting ourselves free. Yes, indeedy. Let's party. So says Grandpa here once again on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network, man. Ooh, do we have fun on this? Ooh, in this rising, ooh, son. Oh, you better get on over to the Coyote Club and get yourself a couple of mugs ordered up too while you're at it. Oh, and I got a Shopify thing on one of my Facebook pages, baby. Spirit Wind Productions, which is our parent organization which produced these shows and all the rest of the fun stuff we do. Well, baby, over there's a little tab for the Coyote Club. I don't have hardly anything there yet, but I'll be building it up. So there's another option too if you want to help support us in any way. I'm in need of some transportation. Hey, I don't mind putting it out there, man. Let's get rocking together. This reality is expanding and it's just getting grander and grander, and we are rocking together. It's just getting that. Man, I'm starting to feel like a goose and a gander, just joined in the heart, man. And flying. Man, I tell you what, I think the geese are the 747s of the bird world, I mean, compared to a condor, of course, nothing. But when I watch the geese, man, wow, they are, man. They're just like, wow, they're so graceful in flight, and so in tune with one another. And yet they come flying down on the earth, and they just walk around and waddle around and swim like jackrabbits on the water, man. They're quick. But they're also just easy, and they're so graceful. And they have their little babies all lined up behind them in the spring after they hatch out and stuff. They tend to mate for life and things like that, God, I'll never forget that movie where the kid led the flock of geese back to their rightful refuge with the ultralight airplane thing, man, flying along ahead of him. The pretense of it was pretty cool, but the reality of it, of course, that never happened. But watching them, fly, and I've always lived in goose country for some reason or another. I've always been around those flyways, so I've seen a lot of it. And wow, it's amazing. Like there's this little valley out there in the middle of the desert in eastern Oregon. This is one of the places where it's so doggone amazing. I mean, just because it's in such great contrast to the world around it. But all of a sudden, this is very remote. It's out in the middle of nowhere out there in eastern Oregon, almost into Nevada. That's how remote it is, Nevada's pretty damn remote. But anyway, we're like right out there in the middle of that place is stunning reality, You come down off this great big old long plateau. You go down kind of a long dugway with a couple of switchbacks, and it cut into the side of almost a cliff, not quite. It's just a real steep hillside you're cut into, but wow. It's one of those drives that takes your breath away, and you're looking out over this long desert valley you're going to drop down into, And you drop down into that, out of that misty heights of, like 7,000 feet down to about 3,000 or 4,000 feet in elevation above sea level. And you proceed onward to the west there a ways, and you meander around the desert a bit, and you go up over a little hill, and suddenly as you break over that hill, there's this beautiful long valley. And the skies are full of wildlife. The geese, the swans. I think there's some flying squirrels out there for heck's sakes. There's and ducks, everything you ever wanted to see in wildlife. At certain times of the year, there's major migrations through there. So you get billions of geese and millions of swans and stuff, or thousands anyway, just thousands and thousands and thousands. The numbers get away from you. It just takes your breath away. And it's just a big old long, all of a sudden out in the middle of this dry old desert, this high dry old desert, there's all this long swale, bunch of ponds, kind of a little lake here and there, that's why the birds flock there. It's, their little refuge on their way north or south or wherever they happen to be going. It's like their big old bus station, their big old spaceport. Yeah, where everybody gets to hang out and party down during their travels, and some get ruffled and lose their luggage and stuff. And, it's just a typical but this is nature's variety of it, I tell you. It takes your breath away when you come into a place like that. And from there on, the drive gets greener and the mountains get, a little ruggedier, and pretty soon you're driving through thick green forest that stands so tall it almost blocks out the daylight, man. I'm telling you. It's an amazing drive if you ever want an experience, Take your time and make sure you're high, but be careful out there, because anything and everything can and will step out in front of you, So you got to watch out for the wildlife and the not so tame wildlife, like the cattle too, because they roam free out there as well. So you got to be ready for that kind of shit out in that country. So you don't go too fast. The inclinations want to drive 100 miles an hour across that desert, because there ain't nobody out there. Nobody's going to stop you. But reasonableness says, if there's any chance at all that an animal's going to jump or something else jump out in front of you, well, babies, you don't want to be going 100 miles an hour when that happens. It's a little difficult unless you got a Jag or something. It's a little, and even that, it's hard to maneuver around that stuff. You might just die right there. And besides kill the animal, And this is out in the middle of nowhere. Ain't going to be anybody coming along anytime soon to scrape up your remains or even notice that you plowed off and fell off the road and went down the hill and nobody sees it down there. Might be a few days, maybe a week or two before they discover you, That's what I'm talking about. You want to avoid that kind of situation out in the middle of nowhere, because it can be hairy, man, And you might just not survive, and I'd rather see you stick around. But outside of that, listen to the old man talk. Shit, I'm just setting you up. But see, I did have an accident out there one time. Big old black bull stepped out in front of me. I was going 70, and I was only about 30 feet from him when he did that. And then there he is, right square in front of me. And I didn't know what to do. I'll tell you about that one sometime. But obviously I lived to tell about it, and I wasn't injured. I did real good, man, for considering where I was. It's a long old story. I want to put that one down on tape sometime. I think I've told little bits of it here and there on this show already, but wow. So that's why I kind of carry on about that, because I know the hazards out there. I've had wild donkeys jump out in front of me in similar situations, but I've been able to avoid that, and so on and so forth. So you just got to be ready for that kind of stuff, for one. And for two, if you're just reasonably present in your drive, and shoot, you don't got to worry about nothing. Because you'll automatically be going the right speed at the right time at the right place. And you don't have to be, fret about it. But just be conscious and aware. Anywhere you're driving, really, in this reality. But out in that wild country, well, shoot. The wildlife owns it, obviously. It's wild country. And you got to give them due respect, because your life could be at stake as well as others. You just never know. You want to be careful. That's all I'm saying. Careful is the right word, I guess. Yeah. It's not, not overly cautious, not fearful, but just careful, just awake. Anytime you're driving. I say this as a seasoned veteran of the highways of America. Many, many millions of miles, and I've seen a lot. Of course. There's a reason why this hair is so white, but oh well. That's just part of it. But it can be considerably dangerous out there. You want to be conscious, because it doesn't have to be dangerous for you. See, it seems like a crapshoot. And on one level it really is, but on another level, you're there to experience your winterhood. That you can't, what might happen to another is not going to happen to you. Say a semi-truck pulls out in front of you crossways and stops. Somehow you're going to flow through that, and you're not going to get hurt, and you're not going to collide. You might, I've had friends tell me about places where that has happened, and they suddenly found themselves on the other side of that truck speeding away, and they didn't collide with it. Now, you explain that to me. That's the flexibility in our reality. In emergency situations, oftentimes we can slip out of this realm into the real realm and recreate the moment, and everything happens just right. And I'm sure we get some angels helping us out. That's what I experienced out there when that animal appeared in front of me out there in the middle of the night. And I knew I was dead. I mean, I knew that this thing would kill me, because it was just right square in front of me. I'm going 70 mile an hour, and it's not 30 feet to collision time. Ah, goodness. But I had a collision with him, obviously, but I avoided um, injury by swinging to the left, just automatically. But, in times like that, things slow down and get all out of proportion, and you get considerably more control of yourself than you would have otherwise. So you stay kind of cool. But it happened. Boy, that guy's head come right through the right side of the car, ripped back to the back seat there, and the windshield exploded all over me. Thousands, billions of little shards of glass all over the place. I had some of that in my eyes and my hair and stuff. I had to take care of that later. I couldn't deal with it then, man. I was out in the middle of nowhere. But see, and I lived to tell about it. Angels really saved me on that one, because after I'd collided with him, I was oversteering and overreacting just a bit, and the angels, well, I don't know who it was, but this hand just came into my car, this calming hand. The energy of a calming hand came into my car, what was left of it. Said, Coyote, you can drive better than this. You get it under you. And I did. I calmed down and I got it back under me, because I could have rolled the son of a bitch, killed myself, but I didn't. And son of a gun, got it back and, lived to tell about it. But see, that's what these moments are proving to you in an offhanded sort of way. But you shouldn't push your luck, but you're really not vulnerable in the way others are. Because that was for certain a dead moment. That was for certain. Most folks would have slammed on the brakes and rammed into the bowl, and that'd have been that. But I got better instincts than that, and I got really good angel helpers. But, such moments probably wouldn't come to me if they were going to kill me. They'd probably be avoided in some way, If you keep yourself in a good space, life is like that. No matter how dangerous it might be in some place that you happen to be, you just cruise through it like the angel that you are, where others might fail. You won't, you'll just cruise right through that sucker, because you're equipped and you're protected divinely so. You've got an energy that needs to be carried forward, and so nobody can really mess with you, really. Not like that. They can screw around with your mind and your life a little bit, but they can't mess with you in that dangerous sort of way. You understand? It kind of prohibits them, the loving vibe that you live in. I'm talking 3D reality, babies, You can be that confident in yourself, especially after you've been through a few of those moments. It doesn't mean you go out there and push your luck or think you're never going to die or something like that. It's just that you really appreciate the kindness, the protection that you've been given, your own gifts and abilities to liberate yourself in harrowing moments, where your life's threatening, etc., The ability to think on your feet and on your ass, too. And just get it done and just get yourself on through. See, well, that's the essential drivership that's been going on in humanity for years now. It's just like my truck driving days, And I can't say that I always appreciated it or lived it at that level, but I did experience it that way a lot. I understood things about those avenues that really cross-correlated with life in a very, very parallel way, almost the same thing, you see. So that's why I can make these comparisons, because it's really like living life. Being out there driving all the time is just life in motion, man. And, it can be a dangerous place, but you don't have to live it that way, And if you don't, well, guess what? It becomes less dangerous for others because, for one, anything you might have done ain't going to happen. And so you're not going to inevitably cause somebody else to have a collision or something like that. You're just going to be reasonable in everything you do. You're just going to fly nice and smooth and appreciate every bit of the journey you're taking. Whether it's down an auspicious highway like I was just talking about, that little meandering road that runs through southeastern Oregon there. Man, that's wild country. I love it so much out there. Beautiful place. Now, me to live out there, I'd have to live in a cave and go back to being a caveman, because that's about the only way you can survive. But to just, drive on through, pass on through, spend a few days out there, be fun, just hanging out, watching the birdies poop on you from the sky, man. Because, babies, I tell you, the sky can be dark with geese and swans out there in April and September. It's pretty incredible, man. Don't go out there bothering them, just appreciate them, and if they want to talk to you, they'll let you know. They'll come by. They'll be friendly with you, too. I mean, I've had them do that out in that country, You can meet up with animals and feathered beings and so on and so forth. Anytime you're ready for that kind of communication, it'll be there, And they're just there to tell you they love you and that, let you love them and admire their beautiful wonder. Because they are, they're so graceful, these water birds, They may be a little clumsy on their feet on the land, but other than that, wow. Some of the most graceful flyers in the whole of the bird tribe, man. They're just amazing to see in motion there. Wow. And to think of the distances they cover, too. And they'll go day and night sometimes. They don't always settle down at night. Sometimes they'll just haul ass. If they know the weather's coming, they'll just haul ass. They're real truckers, babies, of the bird tribe, man. I admire them and I respect them gratefully. And I hope someday you guys get to see a place like that. Well, I know some of you live in places like that where the migrations go on like that. But to have that going on out there in the middle of a dry, ruggedy old desert, I tell you, it's special. It takes your breath away. It's one of those awesome, beautiful places. It's also one of the few places I ever saw the northern lights in the daytime down in that same country, man, clear into southern Oregon, almost into Nevada, south central Oregon. I saw the northern lights there back in the 80-somethings. Can't remember just when, but in the 80-somethings. They were actually out so bright you could see them in the daylight. It was kind of glittery red in the daylight. And, of course they weren't huge waves like they would be further north. But wow, the fact that you could see the glittery waves, in the daylight was pretty incredible. It made you think Mount St. Helens had gone off and had blown sparklers into the air or something. That's what I thought I was seeing, because it was off in that direction, northern lights, And man, I think it was later on that day or the next day I heard it on the radio that's people had been reporting seeing the northern lights, and what they described sound exactly like what I'd seen. Well, I experienced some kind of communion or communication with that kind of energy anyway, so, but I still hadn't cross-correlated with the northern lights till I heard it on the radio. Well, that's what we're doing for you here today, babies, as we travel through this bodacious bird country that looks like a desolate desert, We're bringing you back to life, bringing you back to the heart, helping you understand what's really going on here, Feel the goose nature in you. Take a little flight out there with the tribe, man. Then you understand the buffalo energy, too, because it's a similar thing. It's just not as graceful in its flying and its presentation. It's more of a buffalo thing, And guess what? Used to have them out there too. I think there's a few on their way back out into that country, man. It's really high altitude though, and it's colder than hell in the winter. Not much wants to live there in the winter, So be wary of that in the winter months too, babies. Doesn't life just roll and rock? Doesn't old Grandpa just love to carry on and talk and tell tales and sing a song and help us all just get along? Oh, yeah, the tunage. You can feel the tunage coming now, don't you? You feel the tunage coming. I thought so. See, it's a creation of your heart, too. This muzak that we play here, man, this tunage, is, as I like to call it, is like ripe from the spiritual nature of your heart. So, in other words, we're live and spontaneous here. Everything we do is completely spontaneous in the moment in which we do it, you see. And so that means you guys are guiding direct me all the time, man, because, your heart's giving me liberty to be what you want me to be. So here we are, setting one another free, just by spreading our wings and showing off a little bit. Ain't it fun to be little kids again? Ooh, I love it. So says Junior Grandpa Coyote. Here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. And so says your heart right there, as it's speaking to us too. Oh, baby, you rock through and through. I love you.